We at Time Shifters hope that you enjoyed this rare and infamous moment that combines a first-rate disaster with genuine historical significance. But now it's time to take a deep breath as we prepare to temporarily reset you. Get your cars to Mars.
Hey everyone, this is Christopher, and I'd like to welcome you to the Time Shifters podcast. On this show, Tom and I dive into movies and TV, mostly in the sci-fi, fantasy, and horror genres, and share some thoughts, give our reviews, and definitely go on a few tangents or two. So let's get things going. Tom, how you been?
Well, I'm coming down the backside of the illness that I was on the upside of the last time we recorded.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you are recovering.
Yes. Still a little stuffy, but otherwise moving along but way better than I was.
I could tell as I was editing the show last episode that as it progressed, I could hear more congestion building up in your voice.
I even remember before we even started, I said, we're going to have to keep this moving along because I can actually feel myself getting sicker by the minute.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you are, as I said, I'm glad you're recovering. I'm glad you kind of got it out of your system. I know you got family visiting soon, so I'm glad you kind of you can put it behind you so you don't have to worry about that.
Assuming they don't bring new and more wonderful pestilence to my home.
Yeah, which is always possible.
Yay.
Yeah, my son came home from college for the Thanksgiving holiday and, of course, came home with a very disgusting sounding cough.
Oh.
I'm like, if you get me sick. He kept saying, no, it was just, we had a big bonfire. I think it's just from that. I'm like, yeah. That doesn't last days. No. It may have started after, maybe it was you not wearing a coat during the bonfire or something like that. This isn't just from smoke inhalation. But fortunately, so far, knock on wood, neither my wife or I have come down with anything, so he kept it to himself.
Yeah.
And he is back at school.
My hope is me getting it out of my system so I can finally have a holiday break where I'm not sick. Because I haven't had one of those in years.
Yeah, definitely. No, it didn't stop me, even though neither one of us got sick. It didn't stop me from dousing his room in Lysol as soon as he left. Anywhere he was, anything he might have touched.
I just picture this scenario where you're constantly following behind him, spritzing with Lysol.
I should have done. So what have you been up to during the holiday week? You were off work. You had some free time.
Oh yeah, I know how to party when I'm done getting really sick. Then I break out the paintbrushes and paint my kitchen.
I'd have to be really sick before I start doing that.
And painting my home, it's one of those things. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I am a very detail-oriented person, so I do a solid job. I just hate it every minute that I'm doing it. Once it's done, I'm like, oh, that's so satisfying and so good, but the ride getting there is awful.
Understood.
Especially when you have to paint spots where you only have half-inch clearance.
Yeah, I go into projects like that with the best intentions.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am going to do this right. I got the tape. I've got the good brushes. I've got the right paint and everything. And literally by an hour in, it's just whatever. Just, I want this done.
Well, yeah, I have to restrain myself because the first minute that paint rolls off that brush and falls somewhere other than the wall, I just start cursing because I got to now stop and clean that up.
Yeah, exactly. This goes back to even when I was a kid and I would do plastic models. I'd be just a very impatient builder. Yeah. I could not just do and I'm going to sit and let that dry.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to pick it up 5 minutes later, and this model's going to have glue and paint fingerprints all over it because I couldn't just leave it well enough alone.
I've had way too many of those moments growing up.
You would think at some point you'd go, okay, I know this is my problem. Why don't I fix this? And I don't. I just...
No, I get it. But yes, no, I am capable of restraint when I have to be. So I let a full almost day go by between paint first and second coats and all that. But
I think I know with me it's especially with something like projects in the house or whatever. If it's something that I'm going to have to do and then put it aside, it's the getting back to finishing it.
Yeah. The part that I found irritating mostly, though, is I'm in an older house. It was built in 1950, and is, despite being very well cared for, there are some things that you just can't deal with short of tear something out and put something new in. So while doing the kitchen, I found a spot where the drywall had buckled in one particular spot, and I tried to sand that thing down to get a smoother, flatter wall, and it wasn't having it at all. So the only way to fix that would literally be cut the drywall out and do it again, and I ain't doing that. So
that's where you're going to hang a picture.
In this case, it happens to be where the stepladder sits all of the times.
There you go.
And
Perfect.
It was down by the baseboard anyways, so I'm like, screw it, I'm just putting it there.
Have you done anything with the big or small screens?
As we were kind of starting the conversation ahead of the show, on Netflix, I don't visit it often. They have a series of mini-series that they call Monster. There are 3, and there's about to be a 4th. I've already seen the one for Jeffrey Dahmer. These are all based on real-life killers. The Menendez brothers is one of them. I haven't watched that one, but I became fascinated with one for Ed Gein. I hadn't realized I had never heard that name before. But everybody knows Ned Gein, whether you know him by name, because he is apparently the inspiration for most of modern horror. Anything to do with an actual crazed killer of a kind. So far, in just watching this, I can suss out, and the way that they do the series for him is amazing. They keep toggling between his actual life and the dramatization of that, and a dramatization of the inspirations that he has had. I am only 4 episodes into this 8-episode series, and they have already gone over Alfred Hitchcock developing Norman Bates out of Ed Gein's work, and they also took inspirations from Ed Gein for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And what I imagine I'll find at some point is he's also probably the inspiration for, and this is me speculating since I haven't watched that far yet, but he has to be the inspiration for the primary killer in Silence of the Lambs. This man did all sorts of really depraved, despicable things, but they still managed to make him a likable character while you're watching him. It's really kind of crazy, and it's hard to absorb because it's so disturbing, but so well done, you can only take it a little bit at a time.
Nope, understood. It's actually funny you say that. You're talking about him being portrayed as like a likable character.
Yeah.
I watched a film that I've been hearing about for years because I have a lot of friends and other podcasters that have talked about it because it was one of Boris Karloff's last film. It was a film from 1968 called Targets.
Okay.
And in this film, this young, likable guy, he lives with his parents. He's got a beautiful wife. He just seems completely normal. Just goes and buys a bunch of guns and gets a bunch of ammunition and decides, I'm just going to start killing people. So he does the snipering from the top of oil tanks at the highway, and then he decides that he's going, and but he's just this normal, clean cut guy, and for whatever reason, I'm just going to kill my wife and family, and then go off and murder strangers. It's very bizarre.
See, that's what they're effective of in this, is you can kind of see why Ed becomes like Ed becomes, despite the fact that he's just kind of a quiet, almost shy, but personable farm boy. But because of the way that he was brought up and the environment that he's in, you see why he gets kind of twisted the way that he is, and then on top of it, there's just enough of the right people in his life to kind of egg it on.
Yeah.
Like they're portraying this one, he has a love interest, and the love interest knows what he does, and she's okay with it.
Wow.
At least at the moment. So it's like, it's insanity, and you're like, okay, well, now I know why you got the way you got, but man, is this dark.
All right, so good recommendation for Monster if you've got a strong stomach.
Yes, if you're attracted to that kind of real true crime kind of stuff, it's worth a watch, and it's great for the holiday season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A little bit maybe easier to take, but still dark.
Yes.
I recommend Targets because it is it was a really great film. Probably some of Karloff's best work.
Nice.
It was really, really good. I definitely recommend that one.
To check that out. What have you been into?
Yeah, I've been kind of jumping all around. I've been kind of doing a lot of around the world in my film watching.
Yeah.
A little bit. Start right here in the old US of A. It occurred to me that outside of Mystery Science Theater 3000, I've never watched It Conquered the World.
Oh, yeah?
I've never seen it unriffed. So I finally sat down and watched that one. And, that's the giant carrot that
Oh, yeah.
Peter Graves, Lee Van Cleef, that one.
Yeah.
He learned too late. Man's a feeling creature. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
It isn't that film is necessarily bad. It's just so cheap.
Right.
And for whatever reason, they threw in Dick Miller and the comedic army troupe for some reason to keep breaking things up and everything. But, some of the acting is pretty good. They have some god-awful lines. I will admit that, some of it is way melodramatic and over the top. Beverly Garland is amazing in it. She's plays Lee Van Cleef's wife.
Yeah.
In that, and she's the one that's, she loves her husband. She wants her husband back, and she sees him going off the deep end with this thing, and she tries to reel him in at every step and finally kind of take things into her own hands. And I think she does really well. And she's actually, of all the dialogue that some of these people have, she has some of the best stuff. It's actually a fun watch. It's just unfortunate that the monster looks ridiculous. And we've got the horrible comedy moments with the army troop. And it's shoestring budget and with a okay idea.
Just kind of hamstrung by what it was and when it was made.
Yeah, very much.
The 50s.
Definitely. I jumped to China after that and watched it. It was a short film. It was only a little over an hour long.
Yeah.
Called A Creature in the Mist. It takes place in old world China, and a fog kind of envelops this town, and everyone's terrorized by these giant tentacles that come out of the thing. It's very much like The Mist, the actual film The Mist, which I'm guessing this one or the other inspired. Creature of the Mist is 2020, so I guess it was inspired by The Mist, would be my guess.
The Mist is a short story by Stephen King.
Right. So I'm guessing that is what inspired this film. Again, it's good, but the budget just wasn't there. It looked beautiful except for all the CGI tentacles and creatures.
Yeah.
They couldn't make you believe that any of it was in the same shot. It would just keep throwing me out of the film. It wasn't believable. It's like, yeah, you almost did something here.
Right.
You got another $1 million to throw towards the CGI in this thing. You would have had kind of an interesting and fun film.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Sometimes we know good stuff can be made from low budgets. It's possible, but when you push just too far beyond your budget's constraints and don't know how to fold in what you are capable of, it's enough to ruin a film.
Yeah, no, that's exactly, I think, what happened there. I mean, fortunately, it is, like I said, short. It's only about an hour long.
Yeah.
So it's still worth a watch if anyone's curious to check it out, because, it's only an hour of your time.
Yeah.
And outside of the CGI, I think it's a pretty decent film. It's just, if you could swap in some practical effects or something.
Learn the art of pulling back. Less is more sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely could have done a little bit more just internal strife and drama without having the tentacles coming in.
Right. Or just build that suspense without necessarily getting into the cheesy reveal you can't do properly.
Yeah. And then from there, I actually jumped to France.
Okay.
And watched a film called The Vortilac.
Okay.
Which is a Vortilac is apparently, it's a sort of a vampire, but it preys on its family members.
Interesting. Seems like a short lifespan.
Also, this was also a film that I think was, it looked fantastic. The characters were fantastic. I liked it. I did like this film.
Yeah.
I can't, for whatever reason though, I can't just jump across the line and say it was great. But there was so much that I liked about it. It's just, maybe it was just a little too long. Maybe it just needed to be tightened up a little bit. But no, it was a neat film, and it was very cool. The Vortilac was all pretty much puppetry.
Okay.
It was a man-sized, but it was definitely a puppet, because there was no way this thing could possibly be human. But it was fun and it was interesting. Definitely just because of the place and the setting and everything that the story takes place in.
Yeah.
Made it interesting. Very like 1800s, I guess, maybe France, or even before that. I'm not sure. But yeah, a French, someone from the French court pretty much gets lost on his way. His party was attacked by the Turks, and he survived, and he stumbles across this small home, and this home ends up being terrorized by the father who has turned into this Vortilac, and it was decent. It was weird, but it was interesting. I still liked it. I wish I could say I loved it. It's one of those films.
Yeah, well, the concept sounds interesting, but limited. Like, if you can only prey on your family, well, it could be pretty quick to run through your family. And then what happens?
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know that much in the whole Vortilac myth. I don't know if that is something that truly was. I haven't looked into it. I don't know if that is something that truly is ancient myth or if that something was created by film. I don't know.
I don't know. That's like I said, interesting concept. Just sounds like it. If it sticks to at least what you're describing, it paints itself into a corner very quickly. So, quick way to render the beast impotent is run out of family.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't know if there's more to the myth or not.
Research at your discretion.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'd recommend to watch all the films that I've watched.
Sure.
Just go into each one of them with the right frame of mind.
Well, the first one with Peter Graves in the 1950s, you should be going in with an open mind about what you're going to see.
No, absolutely.
There's going to be limits here.
Yeah, in no way am I going to say that that's like a good film that's been, unfairly maligned or anything like that. It deserves all the ridicule that it has gotten, definitely for the Beulah, the creature from Venus, and all, but it's a little bit more fun to watch than I was expecting it to be.
Go in eyes open and know what it is going into it, and maybe you can have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. I found more good in it than I was expecting,
and that's awesome.
Just by some of the ideas and some of the acting and some of the scenes, especially with Beverly Garland. I'm telling you, she's the one that she makes that film.
Well, she does come in with some actual proper acting chops, so.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, but that's it for me.
That works, in which case we could continue on your world quest by moving on to the next film.
Yeah, it's a very good segue because we're going to talk about 2018's Aniara.
If you like small-town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Aniara is a 2018 Swedish-Danish film directed and written by Pelle Kagerman and Hugo Lilja. The film is an adaptation of the 1956 Swedish poem of the same name by Harry Martinson. The Earth has become unlivable due to war, pollution, natural disasters, and rising sea levels. Thousands of people flee the dying planet to try to make a new life for themselves on a colonized Mars. The Aniara, a luxurious transport ship, heads out for a 3-week journey to Mars with its passengers, but is thrown off course while trying to avoid some space debris. An impact results in them having to eject all their fuel and making it impossible to get back on course. The captain promises the people that as soon as they come near a celestial body, they'll be able to use its gravity to slingshot them back home. Everyone settles in for what is now expected to be a 2-year trip, but what the captain and crew isn't telling the passengers is that there are no celestial bodies in their flight path. As the weeks become years, the passengers and crew try to adapt to life aboard the Aniara, and each in their own way cope with never seeing Earth or Mars again. Fair warning too, folks, we're going to have to spoil the hell out of this film, because there's no way to talk about this movie without actually talking about this movie.
So yes,
so if you have
bail out now, go watch it, and then come back and listen to us.
Yeah, yes, please do. Now, this one was recommended to you by a friend of yours, who I'm assuming just stumbled on it, or maybe was also recommended, by someone else.
I don't know how he came by it, but after he saw it, he had to tell me about it. This
was a really interesting watch.
Yes.
And the more I think about it, and I just came to this thought earlier today, I feel like this film is one of the rare occurrences where the whole is a little greater than the parts.
Yes.
There's so much in this film, and I don't feel like almost any of it gets enough room to breathe. You know me, I'm not one to like say films need to be 2 hours long or something like that. This thing needs to be about 6 hours long.
This would be fascinating but hard to watch as a series.
I'm wondering, I'm thinking it would work so much better as a mini-series. Or a full limited series or something.
Yeah, if you did a limited series so that you could give a little more... Because one of the things that I liked about this film is the way that they broke it into chapters.
Yes.
Given what is happening to these people... I'm just going to put it out there right away. None of this is good. And I think what I love most about this film, and I know lots of films would take a lot of heat for this, and when we get into the reviews, we'll cover that. But if you can get past the sci-fi elements, the AI / virtual reality engine thing that's part of the story, the giant ship, the fact that apparently it can make it to Mars in 3 weeks. If you take out all of that stuff that we're either not there yet or we just can't wrap our head around it yet, and just get into this is what humanity looks like in this scenario. I love that it takes a very realistic point of view, and it doesn't sugarcoat anything, and there's no hero moment. There is no hero moment. There's no saving this, which would be incredibly realistic. If you were in a ship like this, you've lost your engines and the fuel for them, basically, and you're just adrift. No way to get out of that short of some sort of miracle. There's no magic bullet. There's no thing that you're going to do that's going to undo that. But because the ship is the way that it is, the way it's designed, and the way that they are even able to make use of the resources they have available where they can all live out, it won't be the most comfortable lifestyle for the rest of their lives, but they can live a lifetime on this ship in its state. It's just not going to get anywhere they want to be. And wrapping your head around the psychology of that is what this film does amazingly. You just need more. There needs to be room.
Yeah, yes and no.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much that is just sort of ignored or glossed over.
And I think that's where you're getting into. They didn't leave room for time to do that.
Yeah. You're right. First of all, trying to wrap your head around the fact that you're going to be stuck on this thing, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You're doomed to live out your life aboard this ship. Any family you have are going to live out their lives aboard this ship. Where was that discussion? Where was the panic? Where was the severe depression that would drive people to go mad?
They glossed over some of that. We had our stints of crew going into quarters to find people who had committed suicide. We also did get at least a more intimate personal story of watching depression set in over a period of time to the point where it led to catastrophic sadness as a result of the actions of a single individual.
Yeah. Nope. Fair enough.
But yes, we didn't get any of those moments, and I don't know if we needed to. It's hard. They they were really good about putting out there the power structure of this ship too. There were few people in the know of what reality is, and they were playing the politics of it to keep a society of people on a ship that isn't going anywhere or doing anything anytime soon. And while you might find, like, the captain, you might find the captain to be a despicable human being at times, but is he necessarily wrong given the circumstances? That's what I like about this film, is there's not necessarily a villain. There's not necessarily a hero. This is just life happening, and life happening to people.
We go through years going to decades, and the captain is always the captain. The crew is always the crew.
Yeah.
These are humans. Where's the guy saying, no, I should be in charge?
Yeah, you didn't get the power struggle, and I wonder if that's more of a cultural thing. Like, this is, like you said, this is a Swedish-Danish compilation, and the thought process there can be a little bit different than it is here.
Possibly.
So that notion, those are societies built on structure and order, and things can be very regimented at times, to both a good and bad degree. So it doesn't have that Wild West feel that a U.S. approach would have.
Yeah, you make a very good point. There could be something that is effectively lost in translation.
Yes, it's not our cultural paradigm, so we can't fully know where their headspace is.
I don't know how we want to break this down going forward. I suppose right from the beginning, I mean, we knew going in that Mars was going to be not play a huge part in this. And you know what? You know, they mentioned the name and Mars is on the poster, so I still say it counts. It's
Mars factored into this more than some of the ones that we've been down thinking that they were related to Mars. So I liked where this went, all considering the fact that, yeah, we can pretty much already root out. Mars was an afterthought.
But we get into this thing. Oh, the first thing I absolutely loved right off the bat, a space elevator.
Yes.
One of the most underused sci-fi elements. I love the idea. I love the idea of a space elevator. If anyone doesn't know, a space elevator, what you do is you put a satellite in geosynchronous orbit and you tether it back to Earth.
Yep.
And then anything you put on that tether just naturally goes up to the satellite.
Yes.
So it's a super cheap and easy way to get something into orbit.
Yes.
And it is so underused. I'm trying to think of anything else that I've seen that used space elevators. I can't think of anything. I've only seen it even read about it in an Arthur C. Clarke book decades ago.
Yes.
And the Songs of Distant Earth, they use space elevators to transport giant chunks of ice up to a orbiting spacecraft for their big shield or something that they used. I think it's a fascinating premise.
Oh yeah, no, right out of the gate, they were coming in with some really solid stuff. Actually, since we're on the tech side of this, I was enjoying that they actually, while not getting into the reality of it, but they were actually going over their artificial gravity and such. They talked about it. They were teaching it in classes so that people knew the functions of the ship and could help support it for as long as they were going to be on board this thing. So I really liked that they took those elements and I read a little bit here and there, but while still making everything very familiar, and apparently because of Swedish and Danish design, using things like malls and apartments and such like that, and the minimalist style that has a tendency to come with all that already comes off as futuristic anyways. So making stuff that's literally terrestrial look like it's part of this futuristic ship was just dead straight easy.
Yeah, no, I love it. They could have gone to like a modern shopping mall.
Yeah.
And said, this is the interior of the Aniara.
And in this case, that's pretty much what they did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. No, like I read that. That actually that's a thing. Some of those sets were just a mall that was somewhere.
It also gives you this great impression that this is all very commonplace.
Yes.
You know, the space elevator we see, it isn't just a single platform. It's like a 6-story tall.
Yeah. This thing means business. This is massive. This is how you get cargo and people up and down.
Yeah, it is carrying thousands of people at a time up to this big vessel. The vessel is it's just a big brick in space because that's all it needs to be.
Yeah, it's a big long city,
and in the interior is just everything's normal. There's escalators, there's fountains, there's stores, there's beauty parlors. Swimming pools. This is all very whenever this takes place in time, we don't know. That they don't give any year wisely.
I like that they incorporated that with Earth both economically and ecologically failing. There are people with disfigurements as a result of our failing ecosystem, twisted flesh, burns, and such. So only if you were somebody either fortunate enough or privileged enough to stay out of environments that would destroy your body in some fashion, that's the only way you come off still looking fully human.
Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that they were just part of the crew, or they were just part of the passengers. That there was no weird looks, no questions. It just was.
Right. Which is what part gives it more of a European feel than a U.S. feel, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know this. You know it's the future because it sure in the hell ain't now.
Right.
Just right out of the gate, I just loved the world that they created. Everything, even the people riding up in the space elevator, and everyone. It's like riding on a bus or taking a flight in airplane, and everybody, and the one mom, you know, wave goodbye to Earth to her little kid. You know, like you'll be sorry if you don't. Okay, bye Earth. It's like this is no different than someone taking off on a plane and saying goodbye to their city or something like that. It's just.
It's actually real. Conceivable to come back. Even though the goal was to go resettle on Mars, this is a trip that happens on the regular while they get humans from one place to another. So the possibility of going home is not outside the realm.
Yeah, but it just gave us a sense of realism to everything that was going on.
Now, I do want to interject in here, though. One of the things that did bug me, I realize it doesn't help with their story, so they obviously don't have it. But you've got space elevators. You've got this giant city ship. It apparently only takes 3 weeks to get to Mars. At the size of this thing and the size of the engine and the nuclear core that they described that would have run this thing if it hadn't been damaged, and they didn't have to dump all their fuel. There are no support craft at all with this thing. No, essentially space tug or anything in the nearish or even on board. Like, this thing needs to be maintained from the inside and out. We didn't really cover whether or not you had any options on the out. Like, what kind of support craft might you need to go around this thing to make sure that there's no debris, damage from other things. Like, you couldn't have lined up a series of shuttles to shove it in the right direction or something. I don't know. That wouldn't have progressed this story, but I just felt like you got this far, you don't have those things.
No, that is definitely, scratch the veneer problem number one. Is you don't know about this space debris that's going to be in the way between you and Mars, first off. And B, you've got no backup to your main engine. You don't have a ship at sea, if the engine stops, you still got oars.
You would think you'd have... like a solar sail that could be put up on this thing. Something that could at least get you going, or even... This is supposed to be a thing that is happening on the regular. You've lost all communication with all other Earth, Mars-bound transport. Yeah. There should have been more activity that shouldn't have allowed for this thing, because it didn't get very far. It
was only like 1 week into the trip.
Yeah,
I think is.
So yeah, it was a decent. It's a third of the way there. So yeah, that's a lot of space covered, at least based on what they're talking about. But this is supposed to be a travel corridor of a kind. And I appreciate the physics that they were trying to convey in this. The notion that you slide off course with no propulsion, you're just gone. You're drifting forever in the void. That's realistic. I like that, but given that there should have been way more traffic, there should have been a way to get back.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be, way stations along the way that were just there, maybe were just manned for emergency purposes or something like that.
Well, you would think whatever organization has put all of this together might have other monitoring tools that in the event of something horrible, we have a way to get, even just from the sheer economics, that's a big damn ship with a lot of people on it. You would think you'd want to keep tabs on that.
Yeah. Or just on board ship, maybe you just got some emergency chemical engines or something that could point it the other direction for you.
Yeah, everything throughout history that has moved through space has had some sort of maneuvering jet by chemical propellant, as if anything else as a backup. And no. We skipped over those parts. So
yeah.
But again, if you get too deep into that, you can't tell the story that you want to tell.
Exactly. So we'll jump right back or right into what leads up to disaster. I think number 2, where we get introduced to the Mima. Effectively their holodeck, their artificial environment simulator.
Yes.
Which I think was really interesting. Instead of the whole room turning into something, you go in and it kind of it plays with your brain. It gets into your head and
it draws from your memories and then reprojects them back into you, so that making them lifelike. It's a perceptual thing.
Yeah, and it's designed to show you the beautiful things, show you Earth when it was healthy, whatever your favorite place was. You like walking through the woods, it gives you that sensation. You like swimming off the coast of Australia, it's going to give you that sensation.
Yeah.
And all while you're just laying in a room.
Yes.
But the problem is, though, that this thing apparently can, I guess, feel or read thoughts.
It's an artificial intelligence on top of being a virtual reality.
Well, it does, and I think that's definitely, you're screwed when your holodeck gains sentience and then immediately commits suicide.
And brutally commits suicide. Like, it doesn't just cease to function, it destroys itself.
Mm-hmm.
And even the sentiment, and this is the part that I was a little fuzzy on. Emily, the attendant for this this thing, the Mima.
Emily, we should mention Emily Garbers is the actress. She is just MR or Mima Robe in the film.
Yeah.
It is her title. She's the person that runs Mima. That's all we ever know her as.
Yeah, and in this, obviously, she's the caretaker of the thing. I even really kind of dug how they introduced this. When things are fine and everybody thinks they're just on their 3-week cruise to Mars, nobody really gives a damn about Mima. It's a distraction that they don't really need. They're not going to be there long enough to have that kind of need.
This is like the when you go to the mall, you go to the museum, and they have the Fly with the Dinosaurs virtual reality.
Yes, yeah, nice to have. Don't necessarily need to do it.
yeah, it's not worth the $50 you want to charge me.
Right.
For 5 minutes.
So I love that we get introduced to her character, and she is just trying to do an introductory course to anyone that might be interested in using this thing. And people are walking off the tour because they just don't care. And since she's the caretaker of this thing, she kind of has this bizarre, intimate relationship with it. Like, she's like the primary user, because the only one that's actually in there most of the time. But it talks to her, and it talks to her in a fashion that not necessarily everybody can hear or understand.
I think that was pretty... I took it that when it started speaking, it was everyone could hear it. But she knew that was that could be potentially a problem.
Yeah, but by the time we get to the part where it's talking out loud that others can hear, it's in the process of committing suicide right then and there. But before that, there's a moment where she's hearing things. There's another guy that's up there with her, but he doesn't seem to understand what's happening. So I was getting the sense she had more of a perceptive communication with it than others necessarily did, which is also why she gets to be the scapegoat.
Right. Yeah, I took it more that she was just more experienced with it.
Perhaps.
And the others were all new, and so they didn't know that this was weird, is how I kind of took it.
And that could be, and this is, again, where some of it can be lost in translation. Again, this is not an English film. All of this is done in Swedish. So we're getting whatever perception we can take away from this and the subtitles. But yeah, either way, she's got this relationship with this thing. At first, nobody gives a damn, and then even when the first inklings that we're in the middle of a disaster, and she's like, "Okay, this is about to be super important, and I need more help," and it's. Mm-hmm. This is where the captain really is kind of a dick. He is just blowing her off left and right until all of a sudden he can't not pay attention to it. And then when it's used, it gets overused. And that's an interesting element of this film alone, is that concept that humans in distress communicating with an AI that absorbs your memories will now also take on your depression unto itself. Mm-hmm. And that its only way out is to end itself is super really dark.
And that's probably the first story that I feel like, really? That's where we're going to end this?
Yeah. And I love that.
There's so much. Where was the rest of the story before the end?
And I love that only gets us a third of the way through the film.
Yeah, that's a huge moment. And you're like, We are like 45 minutes into this thing, not even.
Yeah, of a cruise that's supposed to be quote unquote 2 years, which we already know is bullshit. like even when he's saying it, we know no, they're no. That's not. It's not gonna go the way you're telling the people on this ship. So
No.
But yes, the fact that this huge, dramatic, and what seems like a centerpiece of the film right out of the gate,
yes,
is gone within the first third of the film. And this is part of why I kind of like this and kind of dig it, despite the fact that, yes, it's a bleak and depressing film. But this is life. This is how things happen in the world from time to time. There's no control. This happened, and you still have to carry on. So, yes, a third of the way through this film where you think this is important, it stops being important anymore because you just don't have it anymore.
It's funny that you were talking about Psycho at the start of the show.
Yeah.
This is a little bit like Psycho, where you think Janet Leigh is going to be your star of the film, and she gets murdered at the not even halfway point.
Right.
Like, whoa, what's going on now?
Right. But again, this is part of what makes this... It's not an easy watch for everybody. If you like fluff, if you like happy, optimistic, unrealistic things, this is not for you.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, and as far as the timeline of the ship, I think this is only about 3 years in.
Yes.
And then we jump to like year 4,
Yeah.
I think, and that's when we start seeing the suicides and cults starting to pop up.
Yeah, the cults were an interesting thing, and I don't know that I would have necessarily jumped to that right away, but I could see it, like when they presented it. And I was even with my friend that described this today, or described this to us, that put it on the radar. I talked with him about it earlier today, that I had watched it, and we got into this. And the cults themselves they're an enigma unto themselves, because are they a coping mechanism, or are they life trying to perpetuate itself thing? Because the cult that we're introduced to is very much a sex cult, and they're breeding each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't entirely know if this is a sick response to a desperate situation, or is this an attempt to prolong life in a way that this is all they're going to know now. So if you don't have more children, this can't carry on. I like that about it, but it also makes it hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, and it's also probably given the least amount of time out of all the topics and themes. There
is one shorter. We'll get to that.
After we leave the cults behind by I think year 5 or 6, they pick up what appears to be some sort of probe.
Yes.
Heading their direction. They think maybe it was sent by Earth. It's big enough that maybe it contains fuel rods that they can use to power their engines.
Yep.
This was maybe one of the most frustrating chapters in this story.
Yes, it was.
Because they capture this thing using
their grapples and their artificial gravity systems.
Right. And they were able to bring it on board, and without saying the words, they pretty much imply this is extraterrestrial. This is not from Earth. They can't get it open. There's no radiation. Maybe they can chip enough away of it and chip enough off of it and make whatever it is radioactive and be able to use it, but they don't know how.
No.
the next chapter goes, and that's it.
Oh, and I love that chapter. First off, I love the title for it. The English title was The Spear. Mm-hmm. They called it The Spear. Not the probe, not salvation, The Spear. At which, when you finally see this thing, it is just a giant metal rod. It's cylindrical, it's pointed at one end, but that's it. And it doesn't seem to have seams. It seems to almost be a solid piece of metal from front to back. It's not even clear that it had propulsion. But they pull this thing. But the way that they told that chapter, that whole everybody's rally, and I loved the way the captain kind of did use this as a rally cry to reinforce morale, give everyone purpose. That's actually where, like, the idea that, okay, we need to educate the young people on board the ship to take on more responsibility. There was this whole surge of energy. There was hope. I appreciate what he was going for. I don't know that I appreciated that he made that giant leap before they even knew what they had. But I can appreciate that for one full year, they all had purpose again. Which then also makes it hard when that goes nowhere and does nothing.
And
it leads to our first murder. At least the one that we
know
see.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of a really great character. I love the astronomer.
Yes.
And that's all she's known as in the film.
Yeah.
I don't think she has a name. She's just the astronomer.
No, I love that.
But she is she's the realist. She's the one that right from the beginning, she's like, yeah, there's no plan. We can't turn her around.
I also love that in her role, she also seemed like she was the cruise director at first, because she was doing the videos that people were seeing as they were boarding the ship. They're like, it's Julie, the cruise director / astronomer. But yes, she then definitely shifts in to the realist, and actually she's the one that allows us MR to understand MR is different than everybody else. She's the one that's kind of like, how are you still optimistic? How are you still persevering through all of this? While everybody else is slowly sinking into their various states of depression, this one woman is trying hard to still live in all of this. And
she has to do so with a bit of sacrifice for her own morality and everything as well. She sees horrible things happen, but she can't do anything about them, and she has to come to terms with the fact that she can't do anything about them because there is nothing that she can do about them.
Right. So she can only control what she can control, and I think that's what I like in this film. Everybody, and we'll get into that when we get into the reviews and all that. Yes, is it bleak? Is it dark? But I really love that there's this one element of hope, perseverance, and light that just moves through that, which is supposed to be, I think, what you take away from this. Even in the darkest of situations, it's your attitude, it's your energy that allows you to do more than you could the day before. And I took away a lot more than I think some did from all of that.
Well, I think that makes it even all the more poignant and sadder, is that even that light gets extinguished.
It does.
I believe in the next chapter, which is, I think, about 10 years into this thing's voyage. She has, in the interim, has taken on a relationship with another woman, the pilot, the
pilot
original
of the ship. who now
pilot of
doesn't
the
really
ship.
have a job.
Yeah. And her partner got pregnant at one of these cult meetings.
Cult.
Right. And this is a big trigger, or could possibly be a big trigger moment for a lot of people here with this story.
Yeah,
I don't want to get
into the darkest part of this film.
Absolutely. And I really don't want to get into what goes on here on this show. Just fair warning. Yeah, like Tom said, this is the rough part.
Yes. This is when
everything that's happened.
We'll put it this way, that somebody sinks into a depression so deep that she takes it out on herself and another, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But these are all the two closest human beings to our main character, and now our main character has to go on without the two most important people in her world.
Yeah, and that, I think, finally breaks her. After that, she just goes through the motions.
Right, because that's when because she actually, the same day that the horrible thing happens in her life is the day of her at least current triumph, where she's given a little something back to everybody because she's taken what's left of Mima and has been able to create a kind of holographic projection outside of the ship that gives people something to look at other than the emptiness of space. They get to see a familiar, tranquil scene from Earth, and she's able to put more than one up. They talk about, we don't see them, but we get to hear that she's got different images that she can project outside the ship to just give a little bit more to their day than they had the day before. And as she develops this is also the worst day of her life, and it's the thing that extinguishes her light. So she just kind of carries on with nothing left, and that's when we launch into the chapter that they call the Jubilee, which is anything but, because you get the impression there isn't that many people left on the ship anymore. They have either succumbed to anything else, or suicides, or murder, or whatever, but they are not hanging in there quite so well. These people are beat. You can see it in the face of all of them. And even when there's supposedly a happy moment where we're going to bestow an award to somebody for the good efforts that they done, it just falls on deaf ears.
Mm-hmm. It's the most forced clap I've ever seen in film.
Well, and watching her just trudge out of her seat, and every step looks like her feet weigh 200 pounds each. She's just so slow walking to the stage to get this medal from a guy I'm fairly certain she feels is a total asshole. And so she doesn't care that this is happening, but she is just, this is life. This is what I'm doing. And that's the second to shortest chapter, because the next chapter is the shortest chapter.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know. I think there's actually two more chapters, because I think we get a brief the 24th year of the voyage. We see a small group of people, and I believe MR is one of them, just sitting in a dim room.
It looks like they're in the Mima room.
Possibly the Mima room, and they are... you get the feeling it's maybe their version of like a... maybe this is another cult. Maybe this is kind of a religious thing. Someone is just talking about the divine power of sunlight on Earth.
Yeah.
And...
yeah, but they're all desiccated. Their skin is shallow, and it's pockmarked, and their eyes are sunken in, and everyone's dark. They're in their waning days, if not hours.
Absolutely. And then we get one more final vision of the Aniara 5,981,407 years into her journey.
Yeah.
When she finally makes it to the Lyra constellation and passes by a very beautiful Earth-like planet.
Yeah, it's Eden-esque, and they left an Earth that had been destroyed by the people that lived upon it, and we didn't say the title for the last one, which was Sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Which is why we're seeing everyone in their final state just before they're all have passed away. There's even a really depressing sequence where you see their algae fields, and earlier in the movie when they were getting kids to participate in the farming of the algae, they were pointing out as long as it's bright green, it's healthy, it's viable, it's food. And when we see it, just before we see the scene in the room, we see the bags of algae that are in the farms. They're spilling over water, and everything is brown and tainted.
Yeah, it looks like the lettuce in the bottom of your refrigerator right now.
The thing that you forgot 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes, it's awful. It's clear that this is the end, and then essentially the Aniara is a floating tomb passing by what looks like it should be the start of a new civilization, but they are not going to be a part of it.
Yeah. As dark as everything you have seen in this film, that is about the darkest end I think you could come up with.
My friend purposely never told me a thing. He's like, you just have to watch the end. You have to get to the end because it's something. And that's just it. It's so simple. The ship is dark. It is dead. It is a slab. This might as well be the monolith from 2001 just floating on by through space. There's nothing, and what should be a beacon of light and hope is obviously 500 plus million, almost 6 million years too late for these people. And they don't even know that they are at least human beings, not alive, but they are human beings that have made it to what would be a viable new world.
Yeah, and not even that. We see shots of the interior of the Aniara, and the gravity is gone.
Yep.
Everything's floating around, but what's floating around is just dust.
Dust.
There's
Debris,
nothing left.
Nothing. Yeah. It literally has become a sarcophagus.
I finished the film, and I turned to my wife, and I'm like, that was brilliant.
It was.
Despite all the problems, there are definitely problems in every chapter. There's like, well, why couldn't they have done this?
Sure.
Sort of thing. And yes, every one of these chapters, I feel like, is an entire like season's worth of of topics and discussion. And it is given so short of time in some cases, but still the overall, I just absolutely loved this movie.
Yes, no. And I couldn't help, even today during conversation about it, and I don't know if you or any of our listeners are familiar, there was an HBO series a couple years ago now. It didn't make it past its second season, unfortunately, but it was called Avenue 5.
I've heard of it.
Avenue 5, starring Hugh Laurie, was the story of a space vessel. It is essentially a luxury line ship in space. It's like going on a cruise, and that's entirely what its job was to be a cruise line for space. But it gets knocked off of its course and can't reestablish it. It's very much this story, only It's a dark comedy instead. There are opportunities for salvation and such that just keep slipping through their fingers, and then it makes light of the darkness that people go through when they're forced into a situation that they cannot control. But I couldn't help but draw parallels between this. Aniara is the stark reality of what of this situation would be like, whereas Avenue 5 is the farcical version of the same thing, but they all go through the same stuff. So if you need a lighter version, go find Avenue 5 and enjoy it just for the 2 seasons that you get. But it's that whole notion of what do you do when you can't do anything?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure the original poem was first published in the 50s.
Yes.
So
56, I believe.
Yeah. So I would absolutely believe that Avenue 5 was most likely inspired by the same thing.
Probably.
And
yes.
Yes. So very much taking, the Mickey out of something that's a much more serious topic.
I could dwell on this movie for a while. This might not have been a direct Mars thing, but I think it was well worth the watch.
Oh, absolutely. No, I honestly feel like we could do multiple episodes peeling this thing apart chapter by chapter.
And I think it's interesting. Again, it's a thing that you could peel apart. I think, and maybe it's my perception, I would love to go back and kind of measure out each of the chapters. I believe each chapter literally gets shorter as the movie progresses. And I believe that's on purpose.
You might be right.
It's in this case, unfortunately, it's the darkness closing in. So full of light, full of hope, everything. The story's fluffy and light at the beginning, even though we're escaping hell, essentially. But we're moving in a positive direction, and everything just shrinks in around you as you go. And
yeah.
I'd have to feel like that's what that situation would be like. It's just the constant walls closing in on you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said,
yeah,
you could spend a lot of time picking this thing apart, and I think that's
you really
entirely
could.
the point.
Yeah, and we've only scratched the surface. While we did spoil the film, there's so much more to this movie than what we talked about.
No, and we didn't really even... We need to wrap this up at some point, but I mean, the performances are all amazing. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Right down to each of the personality types. Like, they went to all the trouble, I'm gonna look up her character. Isagel, the love interest
Isagel,
of MR. Of MR. Our progression through their relationship, and even pointing out the personality types, the suggestion that a person who would have to be the pilot of this ship would be so singular in thought and so focused that maybe their emotions don't really show. That was an interesting perspective to take, and then to watch the walls come down when the position goes away, and then what happens when she feels too much. That's how she gets into her depression and all that. Yeah, you could just... it's just good stuff.
Not surprising, we do not have any social media.
It probably wouldn't be a common watch for most of our followers, so we're hoping we're also broadening your horizons. So
yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope maybe you're inspired to go and check this one out.
There were a lot of reviews, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I was not wanting for finding things and people wanting to talk about this. So
this is a award-winning, a film festival award-winning film.
Yes.
So not surprising.
No. And I'll start off with RogerEbert.com. This is, of course, beyond Roger's days. So Glenn Kenny, I even had to pick this one apart. So I took 3 excerpts from this. First, the very opening of his critique is, this is an exemplary high-concept contemporary sci-fi film. Right out of the gate. This is a very heady piece of material. All this is pretty scary and dispiriting in a slow-motion, all-gender, Lord of the Flies sort of way. What it all adds up to is a bleak, in space no one can hear your silent scream of existential despair project.
I love it.
It's bracing to be sure, but those looking for more positively aspirational fare will have a hard time. So, again, not a fluff piece.
No.
From the New York Times, Teo Bugby, Kargerman and Lilja, however you say that, I'm going to butcher that name, thoughtfully constructed their film, yet they leave nothing for the mind to do besides consume unrelenting tragedy. From the Los Angeles Times, we get Noel Murray. It's a grim vision, sure, but it's a compelling one, too, using the flash of a space opera to remind viewers that whether on the ground or in the stars, we're stuck with each other. I like that. I kind of like that. Mm-hmm. And then from Variety, Dennis Harvey. Each year brings an example or three of purported thinking person sci-fi films. A category that pretty much embraces anything not centered on monsters or lightsaber battles. These efforts are often more admirable in theory than result, but Aniara, the first film drawn from Nobel Prize-winning Swedish poet Harry Martinson's 1956 cycle of 103 cantos, provides a narrative as satisfying as its conception is ambitious. This tale of a spaceship stuck wandering the cosmos after being forced off course is both impressive in its scope and intimate in its portrait of human nature under long-term duress. I really liked that. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, they all pick up on the bleakness, and I still like to point out, I think the point of the film was to follow the light until there was no more light to be followed. Which is essentially what life is. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what this is. I like that notion that it's a space opera. We're put in an extraordinary situation that we can't conceive because we're not there yet. But all it is if you think about it, if you take out the drifting hopelessly, isn't that what we're doing on this rock right now?
Yeah, kind of.
They had everything they needed. They could live as long as they wanted to. What they chose to do with it while they were alive was up to them. And those that did what they could, did what they could. Those that couldn't, went away. Until they were all gone.
No, well, definitely thank your friend for suggesting this one.
Oh, definitely
because it's such... I've watched some other films that are, in the end, depressing.
Sure.
And you watch them once, and you're like, wow, that was a really great film, and you never revisit them.
Yeah.
I could see myself watching this film again.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Definitely. If anything, like I said, what I found in the MR character, she is a light to be followed. She was impressive through it. Not only was she a fantastic actress, but just that energy that was there, even when things got bad, it's inspiring. It's what you hope to be as you move your way through life. So, yeah, and then even as I was talking about this, we started with Earth essentially dying, which is essentially what they put themselves in. They just put themselves in a ship that was dying. So The question is, are we on a giant round ship that is dying? So, take from that what you will.
It is a deep thought film that will keep you thinking for quite a while after watching it.
Yes, indeed. So, watch it with all open mind.
Well, next episode, we are going
Not
way polar opposite. It is going to be, the next episode will drop just after the Christmas holiday. So we figured we would watch something a little holiday themed. And that's right, folks. Holiday and Mars can only mean one thing. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians from 1964.
One of these things is not like the other.
I don't know. I can't think of a better follow-up to Aniara.
And folks, this will take us to the end of our trips to Mars for the time being, so we're going to go out with a festive bang.
Exactly, like a Christmas cracker.
There you go.
It should be a fun time.
It will be, yes.
Actually, it's a terrible film.
It is. It's stupid as hell, but it's funny to watch.
It is fun. I have a good time with this.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Time Shifters podcast. We would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Boy, do I want to hear your thoughts on this episode.
Absolutely.
Whether it's feedback, questions, or just something you want to share, please reach out via email or drop a comment or any of our social media posts. Just follow the link in the show notes or head to timeshifterspodcast.com.
If you've got a moment, please consider leaving a rating or review. And again, this would be an episode we'd love to hear that from. It really helps more people discover the show. And who knows, they might become time shifters too.
If you're feeling extra generous, you can toss a little support our way financially by going to ko-fi.com/TSPOE podcasts. Every bit goes towards web hosting and production costs. The show itself will always be free, but any help that you can put our way is greatly appreciated.
And you know, folks, 'tis the season. 'Tis the season of giving. Now is the time to get cool stuff for all your loved ones. And why shouldn't you check out our merch at TeePublic or Dashery? Links are in the show notes and on our site. You'll be helping us out and supporting some awesome independent artists at the same time.
Lots of holiday themed stuff kind of being highlighted on TeePublic right now. So yeah, go and see what you can find. You'll probably might not find an ugly sweater, but you might find a nice ugly T-shirt that you can wear to one of your, a Christmas party or a New Year's bash.
And make excellent stocking stuffers.
Absolutely. Yeah, great gift idea. All right, that's it for this episode. Thanks again, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
See ya.